Another type of arbitrary item that would be copied out would have to do with the number system. You know, if you have a way of indicating numerals, which seems to have been followed pretty largely by the Hebrews in the older period, then they followed the Egyptian system, whereby they would have a horizontal stroke like this with a little curl around at the end. Originally, in hieroglyphic, it was a vertical thing, and it would look like a croquet wicket. But then they turned it over on the side, and so that would be a letter 10, a numeral 10. And then if you wanted to have, say, 14, then you'd put four little vertical strokes under it, and that would come out then to the numeral 14. But suppose you wanted to have 24. Well, then you'd put another symbol for 10 right over it. So it would look like that. All right, now suppose by the time you come around to copying, there is a smudge along the top there, and all you can see are these 4. Well, the copyist is going to conclude that that was a 14. The example that comes to my mind in this connection has to do with an apparent discrepancy in regard to the date of the invasion of Judah by King Sennacherib, which took place in 701. Now, the statement is made in 2 Kings 18, and I'll write down that citation. 2 Kings 18, and then it is verse 13. And let's read, and we will see what is involved here. Because there seems to have been a confusion in the copying out of a numeral at this point. And this has had some very interesting consequences for people who have wrestled with the apparent problem. And now, before we get to verse 13, observe that in chapter 18 of 2 Kings, it states that it came about in the 3rd year of Hoshea, the son of Elah, king of Israel, that Hezekiah, the son of Ahaz, king of Judah, became king. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Abi, the daughter of Zechariah. All right, now here you have a synchronism with one of the last kings, or I guess you'd have to say that it was, the last king of the northern kingdom, Hoshea. And Hoshea came to the throne of the northern kingdom of Israel at about 729. And so it says in the 3rd year of Hoshea, well, then that would mean that if you're counting at both ends, Hezekiah would come on the scene as king in 727 or 726. All right, now you go on to the record of Hezekiah's integrity as king, and then you come to verse 9, and it says it came about in the 4th year of King Hezekiah, which was the 7th year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Israel, that Shalmaneser, that would be Shalmaneser the 5th of Assyria, came up against Samaria, besieged it, and at the end of 3 years they captured it. In the 6th year of Hezekiah, which is the 9th year of Hoshea, king of Israel. All right, so first of all, we have the 4th year of Hezekiah. That would mean, if you subtract 4 from 727, 7, it would be 723. And then it states that in the 3rd year of the siege, which the Assyrians had to conduct before they could capture Samaria, that would take you back to either 721 or 720, or 722. It depends upon how the calendar came out as to how you number the years. All right. And this is stated to be the 4th year of Hezekiah. So that would take us back to 723, so far as the beginning of the siege is concerned. Now, this is important because when you get to the 13th verse, you have the statement made that in the 2 Kings 18:13. Now, in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the fortified cities of Judah and seized them. Well, now, here we have a problem, because Sennacherib was the son of Sargon II, who died in 705. So the 4th year would mean that in 701 this invasion took place. All right, now that is stated to be the 14th year of Hezekiah. Well, if that was the case, the 14th year would have to be about 712 or 711. And that is simply wrong for the invasion. It's 10 years off. Now, how do we cope with this? Well, okay, it is very clear from the earlier part of the same chapter in 2 passages that Hezekiah actually came to the throne in 727 or 726. And from other evidence, we get the impression that he came to the throne as vice-regent. In other words, his father, Ahaz, was still the number 1 king at the time his son Hezekiah was inducted into office. This was a measure that was wisely pursued by the royalty of the southern kingdom of Judah, because if the crown prince was already installed as number 2 king, there would be no opportunity for a coup d'etat or a revolution to take place when the old king died. And, of course, this could easily happen if the number 1 king had to go off and lead a military expedition, because he very easily could be killed in the battlefield. And so you have varying statements that occur in these records in 1st and 2nd Kings, depending upon whether you're dating from the time the king became number 1 king or from the time he became simply the vice-regent or the crown prince enthroned. All right, now with that in mind, here you have a statement that the invasion came in the 14th year of Sennacherib, of Hezekiah. Now suppose that the copy or the Vorlage, to use the technical term, that's the copy that you're copying from, and this is the German term, the one that comes before. Suppose your Vorlage has become a little bit scuffed and scruffy at that point. I mean, you might see only one horizontal stroke. Now, so far as we can unravel the mystery, the original mistake was made in the corresponding passage in the 36th chapter of Isaiah that tells about this invasion. And there, in the earlier part of that chapter, there is no helpful corrective information such as you get in 2 Kings chapter 18. And so there the error probably began.